What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Leveled Up Life podcast. Branamier, Courtney, as always, here with my main man, Paul McClain, helping you level up your life in all the areas that matter most: faith, family, fitness, finance, and franchise. Dude, funny story. Now that I just fist bumped you, if you weren't watching, we do a little annual fist or weekly fist bump. Dude, I don't have my ring on, not because I don't love Mariah.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, dude, I actually felt guilty. I was driving down the hill yesterday, I had my arm out, and I didn't have a ring on. And I was like, oh, people might be trying to hit on your boy. Anyways, I don't have a ring on, not because I don't love my wife or want to represent, but dude, I almost broke my finger, and I had to go get my ring cut off at the hospital.
What were you doing? Something athletic?
I was playing goalie.
Okay.
And I was reminded that I'm not 18 anymore, and yeah, dude, it swole up, and I couldn't get my ring off, so I had to go. This little Filipino lady, God bless her,
it's like a caterpillar.
Had a little knife, dude, cutting my thing off. It was burning my finger. Anyway,
I'm glad you survived, dude.
I'm glad
I don't
to
want
be here, man.
This podcast is only this podcast because there's co-hosts, right? So I need you on this thing, man.
I'm glad I'm here with you, bro. I'm glad to get to sit here and pick your brain, ask you questions, and help people level up. Really, I mean, we say it all the time, but we think that there's a different level to the life that we're living. There's something that's God given on the inside of us that says, "Hey, there's more for you." Yeah. If you still got breath in your lungs, man, God still has purpose for you. And so that's our heart, that's our desire, is to help people get to that place. But today we're talking about something I think is crucial to every leader out there, and it's the quality of your questions, right?
Yeah.
I don't know who says it, but it's like the quality of your questions will determine the quality of your life. Like, we've all heard that before, but what does that mean? And I've been around groups and different people, and just sometimes being an observer, and it's typically the people who get fed the most are the people asking the best questions or the most questions, even if you're like the annoying like pest in the room.
Yeah.
But it's like those are the people, it's like the squeaky wheel gets the oil, you know? And so I know I've tried to get in rooms where I'm not always the leader or the speaker, because I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to grow. Yeah. And I know the quality of my life is going to be based on the quality of my questions. And dude, I think you embody that more than probably anyone I've ever seen, an ability to ask a question in a certain way that not only pulls out the right answer. I think you said at the last conference that we did, the Leveled Up conference, you're like, if you ask a question and it's dumb, don't even worry about it. We'll answer it in a way that makes it sound smart. And so, dude, you got an ability to ask like the right questions the right way, but also like pull out a lot of value of the person that you're asking the question to. So talk about that for a little bit and how important it is to.
Well, yeah, I mean, dude, so I thought about this because tonight we have a panel, and I wanted to position myself to allow these top lenders and realtors to really kind of provide a significant value to the audience. And so, I mean, I was like, you guys get more value to probably give than I do in that. So let me just ask the questions so I can empower you and equip you and allow you guys to share. And so it got me thinking about the power of questions. And I love this, man, because like the truth is, this is one of those skills, right, that if you can build, like it'll take you to the next level without question, right? I think a lot of times if you're stuck because you're thinking the same thoughts, and the question will open up your mind to really look at a new thought, and that new thought will now give you the ability to go behave and do something differently, and all of a sudden your life is now shifted. And so like the one tip that, and I think we can take this in a couple ways, because I want to be pretty practical. Like, think about like the questions we ask our spouse, our kids, our team, ourselves, right? And so if we're looking at from a standpoint of like leadership, right? Like for me, getting into business at 19, dude, I didn't know what I didn't know. Like my thoughts were really just a accumulation of what I'd experienced, what I'd been exposed to, you know, how I grew up, what my association was telling me. And so that thought pattern was never going to get me to success in the business that I needed to be successful in. And so early on, and thank God for like reading books and getting around people where they're like, hey, you know, questions, when you ask them, doesn't make you stupid or inferior. It actually is a great test or a great sign of the fact that you want to learn, grow, and get better. Yeah. Because what I was taught, dude, was like, if the person's asking questions, it's because they don't know anything. And if they don't know anything, like, dude, that guy's an idiot, right? And like that was kind of my thought pattern, honestly, as I got into business, and I started to realize that, no, man, that's a pride and ego kind of thing. Like, I don't know what I don't know, and if I want to go to the next level, typically it's not just a practical thing, it's a mindset thing. I got to think different. And so I think questions, for one, you know, when you step into that, you become this like lifelong learner. And so it's something that never stops. Like, dude, you know, I'll always be asking questions. I'll give a quick story. Sam Walton, and I think I've said this before, but it's worth repeating. He owns Walmart, right? And so these Brazilian brothers, they're trying to find somebody to give them, to turn like decades into days, right?
Yeah.
Like how can we get a retail store started but not have to go through all the trials and tribulations and struggles and failures, and just like anybody knows, like 95+% of businesses fail. They're like, how do we like not let us become a part of that statistic?
Yeah.
So they send all these letters. Sam Walton actually responds back to the letter. Most don't, and he's like, hey, come on in, let's meet. He drives in this beat up truck. Guy's a billionaire, right? Owns Walmart. They go to dinner, and they're having dinner. They wrap up dinner. These guys are leaving, and they realize like the whole conversation, Sam Walton was asking them questions, right? And so when he was interviewed about it, he said, "I already know what I know. I want to know what they know." And you would sit back and say, well, they're talking about retail store. Like, you're the expert here.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? But he knew that these guys are younger guys. They've already kind of done some research. They've got maybe a different creative vision, thought process, perspective. And he just wants to know, like, what do you know? And so fast forward, it's like a couple years go by. These brothers, they start their retail store in Brazil. True story, they get a phone call. And this guy's like, hey, man, there's this guy that just got arrested. He was crawling down the aisles, this white guy, American. And they're like, that's weird. Come to find out, it was Sam Walton, dude. He was going down the aisles, measuring them to see how they were able to get all the merchandise and stuff the way they had it, because they had the aisles dialed in more. And it just goes to say, like, man, like, that's why he was great. He wasn't great because X, Y, Z. He was great because he developed the discipline and the habit of being a lifelong learner.
That's so good.
I
love that. I think it goes to the old saying, like, you got to be more interested than interesting, right? And I think if you look at any leader, especially any high capacity leader, or even any podcaster, any great podcaster, what are they known for? Not just like going on rants and monologues. They're known for asking great questions and pulling out what they want to know in other people, and they have an ability to engage and pull out things in people that normally you wouldn't get. And so that's what Sam Walton was doing in that story. He's like, hey, you came all this way to see me, but I'm actually going to get something out of you. And I think that's what great communicators are able to do. And I heard a similar story of a pastor going down. I don't know where it was. Chris Hodges, he tells a story about when they were starting the youth ministry. He's like, I flew down, I think it was Colombia. I don't know what it is about these trips down to Colombia, these white American men down to South America, but it goes down there because there was a youth movement just taking off. I think there was like 50,000 kids like in this youth ministry, so they flew down there, and his whole thing was like, I'm gonna go ask them, 100 questions on how this is actually happening, like what's going on down here. And so he said, just as a young youth pastor, I had, what time does your service start? How many leaders do you have? How do you guys stack the chairs? Like all these basic practical questions that you would think that, we need to know these things. Like if we're going to have the success that you guys are having, like these are some things that I want to know. And after he sits down with this leader of this whole movement, he's like, you're asking the wrong questions. Like you're not asking how much time we spend in prayer. You're not asking how we disciple these kids. You're not asking how we have relationship with them outside of the church. Like you're asking all the wrong questions. And it just goes to show, like, you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. Like you got to get around other people who are at a different level. So, and there's nothing wrong with asking basic questions, but like you're only going to know what you should be asking is if you get around people who have done it before. That makes sense?
Yeah.
And so I just know for me, man, whenever I'm in a room of leaders, like I want to be the quietest sometimes, and I just want to listen and learn and observe how other people are engaging. And then as I see the successful people, how they're asking questions and getting to know and getting the right information, then I try to emulate and copy that. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so, I don't know, man. Go ahead.
Dude, I was going to say, I mean, I think for one, dude, I don't want nobody to miss this. Like, this is a big deal. Like, I remember hearing this, I can't remember where I heard it from, but they said, like, I think it was Max, who was like, dude, I never want to be in front of somebody that has something to give me a value and not have questions to ask. Yeah. And so, like, he went on through his kind of preparation of, like, if I'm getting ready to go meet somebody, or I know that, hey, I'm going to, connect with this person, or I'm going to run into this person. And he finds out, like, all right, this person's got a lot of value that they can share on maybe a marriage or whatever it is, right?
That's good.
He's like, I'll prepare in series of questions. Like, what should I be asking? What do I not know that if I did know would make the greatest difference in me being able to have a better marriage? And you obviously you could fill the blank in, right, with anything. But, that practice, I remember being 21 years old hearing that and thinking like, man, that's so smart.
Yeah.
Because like it'd be like sitting next to in high school, man. I didn't study a lot, right? But I'd find the cute girl that knew all the answers, and she didn't have to be cute, but that'd been an added qualifier if she was. But if she knew the answers, I would sit next to her and I'd just say, hey, can you move your arm so I could see it, right? And most of the time they knew what I was like, okay, and they let me cheat. And it's like, dude, that saved me hours of studying, right? And it's the same thing with like life, except if you get caught, you don't go to detention. You actually didn't make a difference. And so, but like I'm always looking for, and there's seasons of my life where sometimes I'll lose it, where it's like I'm in front of somebody and I'll find myself like, dude, I don't have enough questions, or maybe I'll have one or two, and the conversation stops because I didn't prepare and have the right amount of questions,
That's
right?
good.
And you can kind of see, like what you said, Brian, a lot of times is like, you can tell by the fruit of somebody's life. Like, so if I'm looking at their marriage, I mean, their marriage probably isn't perfect. None of it is. But I'm like, man, they seem like they got a good marriage. They've been married for 62 years.
Yeah.
Like, probably like, hey, what's been the secret sauce for you guys? Like, how did you get through some of your valley moments? Like, what were some things that, really kind of you believe were certain disciplines or traditions that you guys have done that's allowed that relationship to stay alive like that? And for one, it also makes a person feel very valued. And if you're somebody that understands that the easiest, quickest, best way to get forward to your next level is to find somebody that's already crossed that path, wouldn't you want that person really like cheering for you and wanting to sow into you and wanting to pour an energy and time into you? The answer is yes. Yeah. And the reality is it's like a twofold thing. You get the question asked and you get a great answer that gives you a different thought that now gives you a different experience to go out and there and have, but you also get somebody that says, I like this person. Yeah. Because the reality is like, Brand, my guess is like when you're talking to somebody about faith and God and helping them, with struggles and how, you probably feel pretty good when they're asking questions about that specifically because you've got the ability, being a pastor, to pour into them and help them with that, right?
So, I mean, it's funny you say that because I was thinking about that as you're talking. I wish more people would ask me questions. Like there's I mean, I'm in front of 1,000 people every week, and you'd be surprised the amount of people who don't ask me anything. And I don't know what your experience is like in that situation as well, but like I was trying to think, why don't people ask questions? Like I'm right here, like I'm available, or in any setting, like what's holding us back from going and asking questions to people who are in front of us? Because I think you nailed it, man. There is something about like if someone comes up to me, and I'm not saying there's not, but it's not as many as you would think. When they do come up to me, there's something in me that wants to pour it into them and give them what they're looking for and be a blessing to their life, because that's how I get blessed, right? You get blessed by being a blessing. Yeah. And man, I don't know if it's like an insecurity. I don't know if it's like I don't know what to say. I don't know if it's I don't want to bother you. I think it's a combination of all that. But I know for me, as I've grown in my leadership development, like every event or meeting or place I'm going to, like my mindset going in is like, hey, what am I going in to receive? Like, what am I going to extract from because I don't want to go in there and just get a warm and fuzzy or get a feeling or get a temporary motivation, because I've been around long enough to know that those things fade, right? And so it's not only about the feeling or the moment, but it's about the connection with the people. And the only way you'll be able to do that is by engaging with them and asking some good quality questions. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, you're going to pique a good leader's interest, and that's going to be the door that may open for you to your next level of life. But you'll never know if you're not willing to go up and ask a good question, right? Yeah. And so what's your experience been like? I know in insurance and conferences, it's kind of a little bit different because people are like there and they're hungry and they're kind of taught to like, hey, go ask questions. So like, what's your experience been like with that?
I think that's the difference too. Like it's taught. Yeah. Like, so it's something that
it's like a culture thing.
It's like, hey, go ask questions. So you'll get people that, they're kind of, that's what they know to do. But you know, I'd even say like, when you're putting your time, energy, and effort into something, right? If you're going to spend a moment with somebody or a moment just doing something, like for me, the thing that kind of helped shift where I started to like just see more fruit in my life was making sure I was maximizing every moment, right? So it's like if I'm going to spend some time with somebody, and we do this quite a bit, man. We'll hang out, you know, at the houses and barbecue and stuff, and it doesn't take very long where we start to have an intellectual conversation. I'm asking you questions and about what you're doing, the church leadership. Like we end up finding a way to start talking about something that's meaningful, that's going to provide fruit for our lives. And not to say we don't have small talk and just like kind of hanging out, because we do. But I don't know if there's ever been a time where it doesn't end up there, right? And the reality is, because I know when I'm with you, there's value I can get in multiple areas of my life. So I want to get that. So I'm intentionally asking questions, and then you want to give it, and then you ask me some questions, and I want to give it. And I think at the end of the day, like, you know, the Wi-Fi password, for instance, right? So I'll share it with you guys. So if you want to come to Commando, you can have it. It's give and grow. Let's go. Well, the give and grow is just because it's a reminder, and I wanted it to be that. So if somebody's like, "Hey,
your Wi-Fi is going to crash next week,"
give and grow, yeah, it's on overload. We got all these hoodlums parked out by the building, but it's give and grow because like it's a reminder. Like, man, that is, if you're like, I'm lacking fulfillment. Yeah. Well, give and grow. Those are the two things that I believe will help you feel fulfilled. When you're growing and learning and developing a new thought process and pattern, it gives hope, right? It's kind of like if somebody's like, dude, I just can't book any appointments, man. These leads aren't any good. And then I'm like, well, tell me your phone script. And you give it to me, and you're like, hey, is Branamier there? Oh, he's not. And I'm like, well, dude, it's because of what you're asking. You were talking to Branamier. You're right. Like, just say, Branamier. Right. And then all of a sudden you get off, you're like, oh, I didn't even think about it like that. Like, they think I'm a telemarketer, right. And when I ask, they're like, the guy's just saying, no, he's not here, idiot, and he hangs up. Yeah. Opposed to, so now they got hope because it's a whole different perspective. So they've grown, and so now you're excited. Maybe my next experience will be different than the last experience that I didn't really like. And then when you're giving, that's when you feel great. And you can't give what you don't have, which means it's twofold. I got to continue to ask questions, because the questions I ask and the answers I get, that's a thought. Yeah. So whatever question I ask you or myself, and the answer I produce, that's the thought. So if I ask a question and my answer is different, I've got a different thought. I can't get a different answer if I'm not exposed to a higher thought process that provides a different answer. Yeah, that's good. And so now I've got something to give, though. So now it's like, okay, I could think different. So now the agent that had the same issue, somebody else has got the issue. He's like, man, I can't book anything. And it's like, well, let me hear. And then he's got something to give. And at the end of the day, man, that's what we're created to do, is to make a difference. Yeah. And making a difference, a lot of it is tied to, are you growing, and then are you giving?
I love it, dude. I mean, what you're speaking to is multiplication, right? What you're speaking to, like, is fruitfulness and, like, doing something that's bigger and beyond you. But you'll never get that to that point if you just stay in isolation. Yeah. And so maybe, like, for a lot of people, you know, there's just this feeling of insecurity, or I don't want to bother. Like, I'm telling you, as a leader, like, ask questions. Like, there's a whole group of people out here right now, like youngsters, that are like, probably hoping one day they can be in the position that we're in, whatever they think the position we're in. But they're, like,
confused, like, who are those guys?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a lot going on here. But, like, my advice to them is to ask questions. Like, not just, you know, don't be a reporter where you're just following us around, but, like, build a relationship with us and ask questions and figure out, like, hey, maybe you want to model your business life with Paul, and you want to model your faith with me, or you want to model your marriage like Bobby and Michelle, or whoever, right? So, like, you're around a bunch of high capacity leaders. Like, your goal as a leader should be, hey, let me get around other people who are a little bit further than me. That way I can pick their brain and learn from them. And then you're right. As they're mentoring, as they're growing, they're going to be able to receive what they've been given and then give it to someone else. And that's the ultimate blessing. And that's been true for my life. So
let's give them a couple quick questions to depart that I think will help. So a couple great questions that I found anytime I get around somebody that I'll try to ask is, like, who do you know that I should know? Yeah. We got a good buddy, Jeff Osborne. The guy is a machine. Yeah. Like, he is a connector. And the reality is, if you want to be a very valuable person and meaningful, specific for somebody, man, be a good connector. 100%. I mean, Jeff's brought so much value. Just
the doors he's opening is insane.
And it's the same thing for the other person. The door. I mean, like, you're just opening doors and really allowing God to kind of work in the way that only He can. Yeah. But a lot of times you need that connector. And so a great question is, like, man, who do you know that I should know? and then they think like, oh, you got to know this person.
And what are they going to say? They're not going to be like, oh, you should know anyone.
Yeah, no, 100%. They'll say like, and then the question is, man, would you mind introducing me to him and connecting with me?
Yeah.
No, not at all. But see, Jeff's a natural connector.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't got to do that. But most people, you just kind of gotta trigger them. You gotta nudge them to do it. Like, who do you know that I should know? Do you mind connecting us? That there alone, you might be one relationship away from changing everything, and it's just that one conversation. Dude, you just don't know.
I'm even thinking about just like in the church world, if every single person asked that question to someone, like, hey, who do you know that should be coming here that's not coming? Like, oh, you got to talk to this person. And then you actually followed up with them, and then they made a connection. Like, how exponential would everything grow?
That's good.
Like, hey, who should be working here that doesn't work here? Oh, this person, you got to talk to them. Hey, connect us and let's see what's going on.
I love it.
Like, dude, if we just did that in every area of our life.
You just witnessed it real time. Look, Ashley's so stunned she didn't even change the camera back on me. It's still in Branamier. She got frozen by
it's
that.
So true.
You got the experience. Like, that's a thought, right? So I didn't know that. I didn't think of that. But now I'm thinking about that because you thought of that, and so now I'm going to do it.
What's the whole referral mindset? You know, you make a sales like, hey, who do you know that needs insurance, or who do you know that I could be their agent, or whatever it is. But it's like even something as practical as church, like, hey, you're meeting a new family. I shake hands with thousands of people every week. It's like, hey, who do you know that should be coming to God's house that's not coming here? It's like, oh, you got to talk to my neighbor. Like, well, why don't you connect us? And like, well, we'll see where it goes, see what God does.
I love that, man, because it could even go deeper. It could be like, who do you know that's, I got a 13-year-old daughter. Like, who do you know that she should know
100%.
that could be able to connect, right? And like, maybe it's, I really don't, but maybe they do, right? It's just an easy question.
That's good.
Another great question is like, what book have you read that really changed everything for you?
Very good.
I mean, I think that, there's usually one book or somebody say, man, that just changed everything for me. And I think that's a great opportunity for you to become aware of a book maybe you've not yet read that can change the way you see. Because when you're reading a book, man, like you're getting the best of that person. Like the best of their thoughts. And so, like, how important is that? If you're like, man, I would love to spend some time with, whoever, right? Like, well, you get the time with that person. Not just the time with that person, but the best version of them.
100%.
Like, they've spent probably years writing that thing, and that's the best version of them. So for anybody that's not reading a book and you feel stuck or you want to elevate your thought process, man, those books will evoke different questions. You'll start to go through your life and be like, man, I didn't really see it like that. Why do I not see it like that? What's held me back? And then you can start unpacking those kind of things. I think another great question is, what's needed to get this job done? What's needed to make this happen? Just a great question, regardless of what you're doing. If it's negotiation, if it's business, like what's needed to make this happen? Because then you get them to say, well, I mean, really, this. Is there anything else that would be, holding this from happening? Anything that would be kind of holding it back from taking place? Yeah. And a lot of times that extra question provides the real reason. The first one is kind of a smokescreen. So I might be like, well, this. Okay, well, in addition to that, is there anything else that would need to be done for this to happen? No. Okay, so we could find a solution to both. You're thinking like this is good to go. Yeah, great.
Love it.
Now we can move forward, right? And I think the last thing I'd say is the questions to yourself, right? Like, so we could put this in the caption, but Ed Milet's got a great book where he goes through all these questions. Like, and I'll give you a couple real quick, and then Brandon, I want you to share a couple great questions that you've got. But he has a whole list of just great questions. You're right. The more questions you ask yourself, the more chances you've got to lead this next level life. But it says, what's one more thing I can do to show my spouse or my partner that I love them? How can I do one more thing to improve my relationship with my children? Is there one more thing I can do to make my family feel more special? Is there one more thing I can do to show my appreciation to the people I work with? What's the one more way I can adjust my thinking so I don't make any more excuses? What part of the situation can I control right now? Is there one more thing I can do to bring myself long-term peace? What's one more way I can worry less about what other people think? What's one more way I can bring my anger level down? I mean, it's just on and on. There's 40 of them, right? Yeah, so, that's good. I mean, the quality of your questions determine the quality of your life, and you start asking yourself these questions. So yes, questions to others, but also questions to yourself will help you uncover blind spots and figure out things that maybe you've been carrying, and that weight that you're carrying is keeping you from actually getting to the next level.
Dude, I love that, man. I mean, everything you said is just absolute gold, and I love the questions to yourself, because that's really where it starts, right? Like, how are you conversating with yourself? Yeah, right. What do you believe about yourself? What do you say to yourself? Because that's creating your self-image, right? And so I echo everything you said. I think for me, probably the question that I ask the most, and it might sound super cheesy, but it's true. It's like, how can I pray for you? I think most, if you're a Christian, if you're a man or a woman of faith, like, it's not a question we ask enough.
Yeah.
Right. And what you're doing is a couple things. Number one, you're deepening your relationship with that person. Like, if you truly have a genuine care for that person, like you're building a relationship beyond just the surface, right? Because I mean, a lot of things are transactional in life, but what would you do if, like, hey, your realtor said, hey, how can I pray for you? And you knew they were a person of faith, so it was like, it wasn't weird or nothing, but they're like, oh, I'm gonna pray for our family. And it's like, hey, what's your kid's name? And who knows where that leads, you know? I think it's just a good question that everyone should be asking. But I mean, I echo everything that you said. I mean, you could take it so many different directions as far as like
that was the best question. All right,
like
so that was the best question. Because I'm sitting here thinking like, and I've never thought about it.
But it's so true. I mean,
but do you think so? I remember hearing this, and I don't remember who said it, but like, you know, it's so easy, like the casual thing that everybody does is like, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
And then the response is never the truth.
Right.
Never. I mean, if I just, hey, Ashley, how you doing? Like, it just triggers the automatic response, like, of good. How are you? Good. Great. You go on. But I remember hearing they're like, just ask it one more time.
Yeah.
You know, like, how are you doing? How are you really doing?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I get it, but it does work as far as getting to the depth, because they're like, well, really, my marriage is not doing well. This is not taking place, right? Yeah. And so, like, that question, it was always like, hey, ask that if you really actually do care how they're doing. It's like, well, you know, but you got to ask the right way. Like, how are you really doing? But how can I pray for you accomplishes the same thing, and I think is packaged a lot more better, where it's easier to be received, and it gets you to the heart of, like, really how you can impact that person.
100%.
I love it, man. I mean, and I'm gonna use that all the time.
It's the same thing too. Like, most people are like, oh, just pray for my family. It's like, well, specifically, like, how can I pray for your family?
Yeah.
And then it's just that other layer of like, oh, I didn't know this was going on, and now you have a new connection, a new maybe. Well, dude, you need to know this person because they went through that same thing too, and so I think it's just an unbelievable question to ask. Especially
I agree. I think that's a question I'm going to ask all the time now, man. I'm still in it.
How can we pray for you? Let us know.
Yeah,
put in the comments.
Yeah, specifically, we want to know, and we mean it. Like, the goal of this podcast every week is to bring you great value. It's not something that we just get on and just to do it, right? It's like those businesses that just have another meeting to have a meeting. Like, we don't want to have a podcast just to have another podcast. As great as this is for me and for us to be able to kind of go back and forth, we hope it provides great value to you, because that's our heart and intention. So make sure to share this if this resonated with you, if this kind of helped maybe trigger a different thought and a new discipline that will help you take it to the next level. I wonder if it's also something that could help a person you know take it to the next level as well. So make sure to like, subscribe, share this, and guys, we love you. Make it a big week. Stay strong, be steadfast, and we'll talk to you next week. God bless you.